Hello and welcome to another edition of Outro, the show about shows, the show dealing with shows, the show about shows, right here on the writer Albert Lanier channel. I, of course, am the writer Albert Lanier, here with again another edition of Outro. And so I am, as you may be aware, if you've looked at past episodes of Outro. I am on an Academy award season tour. I've already done the first week of the tour, and the tour started on February 2nd, Monday, February 2nd, slated to end basically by we're at Sunday, March 15, which is the Oscars. So it started out very well. I've had a few interviews thus far. One of these interviews, of course, has been on a show I haven't been on before. It's brand new for me, called Life with Joey Calvo. It's a show on YouTube. You should check it out. They have some interesting guests that have been on. I took a look at one, I don't know about two, but at least one show, and it was really interesting. The guest was really interesting. So I was on the show, of course, Life with Joey Calvo. I was talking about what else? The Oscars, awards. Had a good time on the show. Enjoyed being interviewed, as I always do, and enjoyed being on the show. So it was interesting to be on the show. And one of the things that I brought out, which I, in terms of being on the show and talking about it, one of the things I've talked about in the interviews that I've done thus far are sort of some of the differences between the awards. And when I say, or not only award ceremonies, but award shows. And when I say differences, I don't mean the obvious, which is like the SAG Awards, right? It's very clear the SAG, which is Screen Actors Guild, which is actually SAG-AFTRA, but it's very clear when you talk about the SAG Awards, those are the awards for actors, right? So they're for performers, they're for actors, right? As opposed to the Oscars, which are for all categories of film, and including this year, brand new category for the Oscars, casting. Finally, I mean, I'm kind of surprised it took nearly 100 years for the Oscars to have a casting category in terms of giving out awards. The Emmys themselves give out awards for casting. So, number one, I congratulate the Academy for finally getting with it and having a casting category. I don't recall saying this on the show, but it doesn't matter. I'm saying it now here on this show. So congratulations to them. More importantly, congratulations to the nominees of the inaugural category of casting. So good for them. It's about time that facet of the film business was honored with its own category. I think it's only fair. I don't know how, again, I don't know what the rationale was for not having a casting category at the Oscars, but it was ridiculous they didn't have one. In any event, I enjoyed being on the Life with Joey Calvo show. One of the things that I brought up was strangely not really about awards, but actually about strangely enough the so-called film critics and reviewers you see on YouTube. I call them the self-appointed, self-anointed film reviewers and film critics because that's essentially what they are. There are a bunch of people who decided that they were going to go and film reviews in their crappy little studio apartment on movies that are in, or as I like to call them, the current cinema that are in the multiplexes and in the theaters and on streaming. So this is what they decided to do. It's always been my position, and if you haven't yet, I encourage you to read my essay called A Confederacy of Dunces, which you can find at Final Cut, my newsletter on Substack. You can go to allanier.substack.com to read that essay if you wish. But as I noted in the essay and as I noted on the show, you have basically what you have with some of these people. that are so-called film, not just film reviewers or film critics, but also a number of these film channels. And I don't have a problem with film channels per se on YouTube if they're doing analysis and they're just talking about movies. I don't have an issue with that. I have an issue with the politically oriented, which is basically what they are. They're a bunch of ideologues. They're a bunch of right-wing fanatics and nutcases and wackos who hate movies. They hate movies. They hate Hollywood. They hate TV. They hate everything. And so instead of talking about the Republican Party and how much they kiss its ass and how they worship, right wing people, they're probably Hitler worshipers too. I don't know. I don't know if they are or not. I wouldn't be surprised if they're Nazi and Klan types, but that wouldn't surprise me. But they don't have to be. If the thing about it is this: if they stuck to talking about politics and stupid political talking points, that would be fine. The problem is they're trying to bring the same basic structure of talking points and political agitation to the movies, and in terms of so-called criticism. They're not critics, they're idiots. They don't know anything about writing, and they don't know anything about movies. They're people that hate movies because these movies don't reflect their ideological agenda. They're a bunch of Republicans and libertarians. And I'm like, well, I don't know. There was a version, I know there was a movie of Atlas Shrugged. If you hate Hollywood and hate what they're doing, that it doesn't reflect your political ideology, why don't you go watch the Atlas Shrugged movie? Or even watch the Fountainhead, I think with Gary Cooper many years ago. Or watch anything, watch those right-wing movies, anything right-wing. I don't know if there's a right-wing. I have no idea if there's like a right-wing, movie company or film producing studio. I don't think there is. I mean, I know there are right-wing documentaries, like that Dinesh D'Souza guy who's done some of them. But look, that's the problem with these people. They're basically a bunch of pablum puking haters. They're a bunch of rancid, putrid bastards. They're imbeciles. They're nitwits. They're morons. They have nothing to offer because they hate movies. They're not fans of movies. They're liars. They don't love Star Wars. They hate Star Wars because they think Star Wars should only be for straight white males. That's what their idea of Star Wars is. They think Star Trek should be for straight white males. They think everything that comes out, every movie, every TV show should be for straight white people. That's what they think. That's their entire brainwashed, butthurt mentality. And so I don't really take a lot of these. That's the problem that you have, is you have a bunch of people that hate movies and they hate TV, and that's what they care about. So I talked a little about that. I didn't talk too much about it because I'm on a tour talking about awards and Oscars. But that's a little taste of what I did. So if you liked, if you you're interested in the awards season, you're interested in the Oscars, check out Life with Joey Calvo. You can go to his channel on YouTube and check out his shows. Or you can go to the community page, my community page here, and you can go to the I think the link there, or, you go check out my post about it, which I think includes the link. And you could try to click on that and go there. So again, that's Life with Joey Calvo. I think he has some interesting guests. At least I saw one show, so it seemed interesting to me. Somebody asked in the chat, "What's your favorite movie?" I have a number of favorite movies, so I don't just have one. But that's it for me. Again, with another edition of Outro, the show dealing with my views of interviews on shows that, of course, you now know about. All right. Take it easy, folks.